Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to do a Divine Feminine reading. So let's see where we go today. Let's see what's blocking the feminine. Let's see what's showing up for the feminine. I'm really curious where the feminine bliss is right now. Because we saw there was a time of rest, there was a time of non-action. So I'm really interested to see where feminine pleasure is right now. All right, let's see where we go. Oh, immediately. Okay, leg up, beautiful. The message I immediately got was the more you rest, the more you will be supported when you take a step out into the world. What's happening? Okay. All right, let's put these up here. What does this say? Observer. Okay. Flexible. New life is not yet coming through, but is on the horizon. Yeah, I mean, we have a couple. Actually, if you notice, every single card has a garland of flags, which, as you know, in this deck for me, that reminds me of a race, either starting a race or finishing a race. So there's a lot of starting and stopping here. Maybe endings and beginnings, completions, death and rebirth cycles. And then we have why. Okay, feminines, you're well, hold on. Let me just look at the uprights. So I like to look at the uprights together and the reversals together just to see how they start to flow. So we have a leg up, flexible, and why. Yeah, so by taking the space and rest you need, feminines, and asking the deeper, bigger questions of getting to the core of what is your big why? What is your big why for your career, for your soul mission, for how you raise your children, for your friendships, for your family dynamics? When you get to the core of these things, this level of self-awareness. So let me just congratulate you for operating at this level of pristine truth, because you're no longer tolerating anything less than truth. So by excavating these deeper answers, it will give you a leg up on this next chapter of your journey, and it will contribute to your resilience, feminines, right? There's something really powerful. What is that quote of the bow that doesn't bend breaks? Essentially, it's like you have a branch on a tree. It could either flow with the wind, right? The more flexible it is, it could survive kind of all different types of weather. But the more stiff that it is, it can potentially crack, right? And we've seen that with our many storms and hurricanes and all the crazy weather that we've been having. So when you ask the deeper questions and get the answers that satiate your soul, it will contribute to this flexibility. When you can remain flexible, it's also a nod that you're telling to the universe, hey, I am good with being flexible. Bring me more truth and I will flow with it. Right? Sometimes we can't always handle big truths, right? Sometimes they're just a little bit too much for us to hold, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes the ego is just not ready. The ego has to unfurl like a flower, right? All in divine timing. You can't force a flower to bloom or to open its petals, right? It happens when it gets the right ingredients, when it has the right amount of sun and air and nutrients in the soil. And even when all those things are perfectly correct, the bud is going to open in its own divinely timed fashion. Sorry, I need to take a sip of something warm. It's a little brisk here on the East Coast. It's refreshing. I was just talking with one of my friends, and we always laugh because it feels like a rom-com when fall starts to hit, where there's like all this opportunity in the air, and everything is possible, and everything is serendipitous and synchronistic, and It's just a funny thing that comes over, I think, northeast coasters rather, when the air starts to get a little crisp, has a little bite to it. There's something very exciting in the air. So, yeah, there might be something here, a message in that, feminines, that you can feel the change of the season. You could feel this new life that hasn't yet come in yet, but is right there. It's right on the horizon. Okay. Was that all I wanted to say? I think so. Okay, let's go to these reversals. So we do have observed. Wait a second. That's interesting. It says observed, but I read it as observed. A very small message here. It's not a big one, just a tiny one. Feminines, take a moment in all of this pausing and all of this delicious kind of inquiry. Take a moment to reflect on how far you've come, right? Observe your journey. Observe your past, present, and future. Observe yourself responding to these memories. Observe yourself. Your role is just to hold your center for love and stay in the role as the divine witness, right? You are just witnessing your soul having this human experience. That's it. I think that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, this is interesting. So in the unconscious, I just looked really quick. I wasn't going to, but I did. In the unconscious, we have clean it up, and it's in the reverse. So this is, for those of you who have been with me for a while, when I get a reversal in the shadow position, for me, it's almost like a false shadow. So feminine, even more cause to take a step back and to exist in non-action right now. Don't take action right now. Again, this is about witnessing and asking why, right? This is just about sitting back and observing what's happening around you, because so again, the false shadow energy is always it's like something's tricking our mind, or rather what we think is what we're meant to do or clean up in this life is not the thing. So instead of spinning your wheels and putting all of your beautiful, precious life force into cleaning what you think is the thing, pause, reflect, sit back into your seat, really allow the quantum field to hold you, and understand that it's okay to pause. It's okay not to take action at this time. Okay. All right, let's see where else we're going. You know what? I haven't used these in a while. Bear with me. I have an office space now, so I've been trekking my cards back and forth, which is highly inconvenient. I should probably just get doubles of my cards, but that's also annoying, and I don't feel like doing that because I have such an intimate connection with my cards that, I don't know, it feels cruel to get new decks. That's so ridiculous, but that's funny. Okay, feminines. What are the feminines working with? What are they asking these big questions about? What would support them in their inquiry? What would support them in remaining flexible? What would help them usher in this new chapter of this new soul-aligned life? I mean, hilarious. Oh, Spirit, you got rebirth. I mean, and we have some of those. I don't know what they are yet. Let me just get everything out. My last question was what would support feminines in their new life, and you just got rebirth. So yeah, there's just, and this is funny. I did not plan this. I gave you all those flower metaphors, and I didn't realize I just chose my flower deck. I mean, hello. Okay, so nourishment was in reverse, and what does this say? New love. Okay. Anything else, Spirit? I have so much to say, but let's calm down. We have fertility, another rebirth card, another birth card, and I'm dropping cards. Bear with me. We have, what does that say? Sacrifice, and we have enlightenment in reverse. Interesting. I'm just going to put that there. Let me feel into this. And then in the unconscious, we have devotion. Okay, let me just start flowing. So yeah, the first message we got out here with this rebirth card, it is interesting. We have this new life in reverse, and then we have this rebirth card. For me, this is screaming non-action. This is screaming, do not force your flower to bloom. Give it the ingredients it needs. What do you need on a daily base, feminine, to feel good? Literally, like just to feel physically good. Is it drinking enough water? Is it having enough electrolytes and minerals? I always enjoy Celtic sea salt. Is it getting enough movement, doing a little exercise, yoga, going for a walk, doing a little dance? I'm a massive fan, feminines, of the random dance party. Just pop on a random playlist and like bust moves for like 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, 10 is, extreme in the best of ways, but hey, it feels so good to just kind of unleash the Kraken in the morning, and get it all out of you. Um, yeah, there's something here, feminines, of make sure you're not, trying to push the river. Make sure you're not trying to force yourself down something that you're not ready for, to take a job you don't want. This is a time of like pristine self-awareness to really come into that that new self-love that incorporates your own preferences, that actually asks self, okay, do I want this? Is this best for me? Yes, I'm making a ton of money and I feel like crap doing this job. So is this the best for me? What does compromise really look like? Is that functioning for me? Does more money in the bank or less money in the bank really contribute to my happiness, or is that an illusion? Is that a fear-based illusion of safety? It might not be an illusion. It might actually give you more space and freedom and safety. So if more money, I don't know why I'm going on a money kick, but I'm leaning in because it's here. If more money in the bank account increases the love within your own heart, that means love for self and love for other, beautiful. Chase after money, cool, 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 all is well. If more money in the bank still keeps you in scarcity and in lack and in there will never be enough energy, that is of coming from a fear-based mentality, and it is not useful. So whether you're making 40 grand a year or 240 grand a year, if your nervous system is still in this kind of unhealthy, dysregulated, hyper-vigilant, fear-based lack mentality, then it's not useful. It's actually contributing negatively to your life force. I'm forgetting after that whole rant, I'm forgetting that we have this nourishment card in reverse here. So where are you a little too rigid about what you think is nourishing to you? Speaking of nourishment, I need to take a sip of something warm. Hold on. Goodness, with the change of weather, it's really getting my throat and my like ear, nose, throat area. So I'm trying my best to stay on top of it, but it is hard. Yeah, so feminines, where are you chasing after something that you believe will nourish you and actually is not doing anything for you? If waking up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday to get to that yoga class, if that's causing more harm than good, I mean, maybe reevaluate how you're coming into relationship with that. Is it, what is the reasoning why you're pushing yourself that hard? Can you go to a yoga class at like 9 a.m. or 11 or 2 p.m. or whatever? You're just, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm losing my voice. Forgive me. This whole message here, feminines, is calling you to a higher presence. It doesn't matter what your choices are. Your choices are divine and they're yours. Let me say that again. Your choices are divine and they are yours. They are sacred to you. Only you will know what is the best choice for self. Only you can wield your free will and sovereignty in a way that fuels your soul's deepest desire. But no one else can tell you what that is. Sure, people can give you suggestions. You can hire a coach. You can hire me. You could hire all these other support people to gift you with maybe opportunities to come into deeper awareness of yourself. But ultimately, you are the sovereign of your life. You are the one that is being called to step into this wise discernment, to step into this intuition-led discernment, which is really, really important. Okay, so basically, I'm not telling you that anything you're doing is wrong. I'm inviting you to come into deeper relationship with how do you actually physically and emotionally feel when you're doing these things that you believe are nourishing to you? Is there a kinder way to do the same exact thing that would just honor your desires and boundaries just a little bit more? Like maybe you love spending time with your elderly relative, but it's really hard to get there after work. So maybe getting there in the morning before work would be supportive to you. And, something like that. That was a weird example, but is there something that could just ease your system that much more? We are coming into, at this stage of consciousness, we are being called to come into radical micro presence. It's so funny because I talk so much with my hands and I'm doing all these motions, but I'm realizing you can't see any of them. So sorry about that. But we are being called to enter into micro presence. What does that mean? It means every single second counts. Every single microsecond counts. All these moments are the in-between moments. All of these moments, from when I'm silent on this recording and I reach over to grab my tea or my whatever this is, can I bring presence and intention to that moment? I know that sounds crazy because it's like, okay, how much between this motion and that motion, how much presence can I bring to it? Well, I can feel my body as I this is here, I'll put this here. I could feel my body and my mind and my desire as I reach for my tea, and then I bring it back to me, and I'm aware of the anticipation of what this warm sacred liquid is going to feel like on my tongue. What is the mug going to feel like in my hands, this nice cozy warm mug? And then as I bring it to my lips and take a sip, and then I swallow, wow, I'm bringing all that delicious awareness. Why does this matter? Because you're practicing being present. You're practicing vibrating your energy system in a way that you can so that you can receive all of this data. So maybe today it's this silly 2-second moment of drinking your tea, but maybe tomorrow it's picking up the cues in a board meeting of someone's body language, of someone's emotional, energetic state. Maybe it's picking up your own intuition of whether you should co-collaborate with someone or maybe it's not a best fit. Maybe it's the intuition of okay, you're apartment hunting or house hunting. Maybe this isn't the best thing to do right now. You're training your presence. This is why the micro presence matters, because what is small is really big and what is big is really small. The divine speaks in paradox to us all the time. Now I need another sip because of all that beautiful micro presence. Okay, sorry for slurping on camera. Okay, let's drop in again. We have enlightenment in reverse here. We have fertility and sacrifice in reverse. Oh, feminines. All right, this might be a tough message to hear, feminines, but where are you? Okay, let me put these together in a way that feels in alignment. So we have new love and sacrifice in reverse and fertility. Enlightenment in reverse will be the product of this that we're talking about. So immediately when I saw this card, New Love, came out, immediately I knew it was new self-love. And remember, we started this reading being in the inquiry, right? Feminines, you are asking why. You are remaining flexible, which will give you a leg up on your soul mission and of your intuition, of your discernment. You will be able to navigate your path in a way that is more in alignment. I feel like we need to put my little compass right here because we're talking about navigation. Okay, so feminines, with all of this delicious new love arriving, with all of this worthiness, with all of this self-esteem and self-love arriving in your system, you are being called to discern what your sacrifices really are in this life and whether or not they are worth it. I know that's a kind of a dense topic, but it's interesting because the sacrifice card is the passion flower card. So are you sacrificing your passions? Are you sacrificing the things that really set your soul on fire? Because I'm here to tell you that you've been chosen to, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm getting a lot of different messages and it's like a vortex swirling in my chest and throat chakra. Hold on. Wow. This is kind of crazy. I really got fully lightheaded and then I got a pit in my stomach. So my intuition was correct that this is a very intense and dense subject for a lot of people. And this could be really hard to confront. Some of us have made sacrifices that have lasted 10 years or multiple decades, or dare I say a lifetime. And so that may be really hard for your heart to hold, that maybe you've sacrificed something that was sacred to you and that you never really wanted to. So vibrate that pain out of your system, that grief, that sorrow, that despair, until you can reach gratitude that you have this awareness now, right? You didn't go to your grave not realizing what you truly desire. You're realizing it right now. Again, use those sacred skills of dropping into micro presence and really start to evaluate where your soul is calling you. Follow your passion. You've heard the phrase follow your bliss, and that's really the core of all of this, is that you were chosen to incarnate here as a unique soul that has unique desires and unique gifts and different flavors of creativity and different flavors of birthing on this planet. Not everyone gives birth to a baby. Some people give birth to families and careers and missions and nonprofits and artwork and music and pottery and all these different beautiful things. And no one can tell you that one is worth more than the other. And if someone has tried to tell you that, then now you are being called into a deeper discernment. You are being called to parent the parts of self that let other people tell you what you were supposed to sacrifice. And then again, forgiving the parts of self that let those people do that, right? You are being called to birth something, feminines. I don't know what that is, but it makes perfect sense because collectively feminines have had a tough year, I would say. There's been a lot of clearing out the basement and the attic of our soul, of our energy system, to really reclaim our house, to reclaim what makes us us, to reclaim what makes the feminine feel safe, what makes the feminine feel worthy, what makes the feminine take up enough space so that she can go at her own pace to access her own divine intuition and wise discernment. Beautiful. Yeah, and then I'll just mention it because it's here. So we have this Enlightenment card in reverse. I'm also just cracking up that I spoke so early about the flower metaphors, just because enlightenment, as many of you know, is usually represented as a lotus flower, a many-petaled lotus. And I just laugh because I'm not laughing at this hardship, but I'm laughing at the synchronicity that this lotus flower is in reverse. So again, there's two messages here. There's, are you forcing yourself to bloom where the environment is not optimal? You know, are you forcing yourself to survive in an environment where you really don't want to be? And I get it. The job market's crazy right now. If you're kind of on that traditional path, I get it. It's scary. A lot of people have lost their jobs, have been laid off, and have been kind of thrust into void space, not knowing which end is up. So I honor if you're still trying to hold on. And I also hold all of the feminines, all of the masculines, all of us to a higher level of discernment and a higher level of awareness around what is actually going on. Was that layoff? Was that firing? Was that whatever happened, bankruptcy, whatever it is, was that a divine gift for you and your family? I know that sounds crazy if you're having a hard time and it feels very traumatic. And it also could be true that this was probably the best thing for you. So your spirit's asking you to pivot and to reclaim what are those things that lit you up as a child? What are those things that you could spend hours doing and lose track of time as a teenager, as a child, as an adult? Is there something like that that comes to mind in your body and heart when you hear me speaking about this? What are those things? Write them down. Try to carve out some time to do those things, because you are being called to reignite this little spark that's always been in you, that's just been diminished. So again, remember, you're being called to observe, to step into the role as the divine witness, to witness what parts of self are craving watering and sunlight and nourishment. It is your job to water, to nourish, to feed those parts of self. Yeah, and I laugh because, I mean, I don't laugh at you, but I laugh about it. Yeah, we have devotion in the unconscious, right? So where have you not been devoted to self? Where have you not been devoted to your causes? When I say cause, it could be anything. If you love to run and you haven't run in a while because instead you got to get your kids to school or you got to do whatever, you know, what are these things that you're called to, let me ask it in a different way. What devotion felt really easy in your life? What devotion felt really exciting and easy? So for me, I'll speak for myself. So, I mean, many of you know I worked in clinical nutrition for about 15 years. I worked in a hospital. And it didn't occur to me until I left. I literally, as I'm walking out the doors for my last day of my 15 years of experiences here, good, bad, and ugly, I realized that I spent 50 years as a very highly sensitive person, empath, magical being, walking into a building of suffering. And our offices were in the basement. So I realized, whoa, I was in the basement, in the root chakra of this building full of people who were sick and trying to get better, or who were birthing, or it was a lot of death and rebirth, right? Sickness and healing. I spent 15 years in the root chakra of these intense experiences. It never occurred to me to take care of myself energetically until I was leaving. It was the most wild experience. But now I'm in another place, and I get to devote myself to causes that light my soul up. I get to devote myself to you guys here in these oracle readings as a transpersonal educator. I get to devote myself to my clients in giving and teaching Reiki and energy healing and energy anatomy. I've now been working alongside a nonprofit that employs people with disabilities and who are on the spectrum. Like I now get to bust my butt for things that light me up, and it's not hard. This devotion is an easy devotion. Yes, have I been working a little too hard because I'm a little too excited? And when I get excited, it's even harder to hold my boundaries with myself, right? Getting enough sleep, not being on my phone, answering emails or designing graphics or doing whatever else. Yes, those things are hard, and I'm still excited to do those things. So really, as a collective, imagine if the whole planet had that level of opportunity and had that level of ignition Imagine a planet full of ignited souls ready to share their love, share their gifts, help others, and be sustained in that, right? Both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and the biggest one, financially. Imagine all of us living a life in alignment with our souls and getting paid for it. Whoa, right? That's not a small thing. And as we come into this deeper accountability, these are the possibilities on the horizon. Feminines, this is actually possible for you. I'm running out of breath a lot when I talk today. So, feminines, are you at a loss for words? Is there something blocking any part of your throat chakra, any part of your authentic self-expression? Because that is your work. Whatever is blocking your self-expression, and that could be fear, that could be trauma, that could be external circumstances, that could be very dark energies or entities, abusive situations. And abuse could look, there's a grand spectrum of the word abuse. It could be abuse mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, abuse of our time, abuse of our resources. Again, you are being called to step out of victimhood into the victor of your life. Can you take accountability and make the necessary changes that would allow you to step into this deeper alignment? Wow, I feel like I'm nonstop talking today. Is there anything else, Spirit? Anything else for feminines? Anything else you want to share? Anything else? All right, I'm not taking all these, but I will take the flipper. Yeah, we have seasons. Didn't I just start the reading talking about seasons? Let's honor that everything happens for a reason and a season. And how does that quote go? Honor that, yes, you could be in one season in your life, but just like the actual seasons, the natural rhythms of Mother Gaia will shift your season. This will end, right? What's that quote? The good news is nothing lasts forever, and the bad news is nothing lasts forever, right? It's teaching us detachment. It's teaching us to let go of how we thought our lives should be so that the life that wants to come through can come through. That's a Carolyn Mace quote. I'm not going to take credit for that. We also have good juju, joy in reverse, and shine. Yeah, the very interesting. The good juju card for me is like really trusting, and that the quantum field is supporting us, that the spirit is supporting us, that the universe actually has our best interests. And when we can start to flow with the universe as if the universe is like a loving elder grandmother who's actually doing everything in our best interest, we start to trust a little differently. We start to show up a little differently. And I understand if you're a little weary and cannot access kind of that light joy, it makes sense. It's a scary time with all of these big shifts. So take heart, take stock of that, but also don't let it bury you. Don't let it bury your trust. Don't let it bury all that beautiful grace that is open to you and accessible to you. And then we have the shine card. Yeah, even in the trenches, this is our work of bringing our divine light into the darkness. Beautiful reading, feminines. I hope this was supportive, and I will see you in the next one.